Hi, welcome to my channel. This is part 2 of the Welcome Home tutorial. Part 1 was how to make the chipboard house that contains the album. This will be part 2, which is the tutorial for the making of the album that goes inside. Let me make you dizzy for a second and hang my camera back up. There we go. Hold on, let me adjust a little bit here. So let me do a quick walkthrough of the album. The measurements for this album are 7.5 by about 5 1/4. I believe I have about a 3.5 inch spine. So you'll see that it's kind of a basic cover for me. I usually do a little bit more floral and flowery, girly looking. This just has a flat piece cut out from the paper collection. I had a chipboard window, some flowers, I got a butterfly here. This lace is from countrycraftcreations.com along with the pearls in the center, and the back is plain. So I'll just go through this quickly and then you can continue to watch for the tutorial that follows. There's a pocket on the front and I just put a plain black piece of cardstock, the linen cardstock from Country Craft Creations on the inside. This pocket was, I had watched a video that Tammy from countrycraftcreations.com put on. And a gal who follows on the Facebook page, Harriet, came up with this really cute pocket style. And so it's folded a certain way so that you can get 3 tags for it to hold. I also added this feature so that you can hold smaller pictures. And then I put the seam binding to help it stay closed. And the tags stay in real nice. Okay. And on the next page, there is a opening here, and you can put some pictures inside. And it opens for a larger spread also. This is a half page, and that comes out, and you can, I just put in a real easy little booklet. This is a waterfall, a side waterfall with a magnetic closure. There's 3, 4, 5, 6 pages, and then the base page. So that'll hold quite a few pictures. I left the back open, didn't put paper on that. On this page, it flips up and it flips down. There's 2 pockets actually, a double pocket. And so I just put some of the cut aparts in there. I apologize for my voice. I think I have a sinus infection. Sound a little manly right now. Here's that, then the styles repeat. And so I did the tri pocket or the accordion pocket again. Excuse me. This is my favorite page. Again, it opens with the magnetic closure, and then it opens for a larger spread. We have the half page, and I left the inside empty. Back side's covered the same. Another waterfall. The back, same style as previous. Oh, sorry, I'll be glad when this is gone. And then we have our back page. So it really will hold a lot of pictures for you, and it looks really cute inside of the house. So this tutorial will show you how to make the 3 base pages. I am going to link the YouTube video that Tammy from the store had put up on how to do the binding I didn't go into the hinge and all that because I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. She did a fabulous job. So if you're interested in making this album, please continue watching. I appreciate it, and please subscribe. Thank you. All right, let's get started on the first base page for the Welcome Home album. This is what the base page looks like that we're going to start with. I'm calling this Style 1. This is the one that has a pleated pocket or a crimped pocket that a lady named Harriet came up with. After watching Scrapbookers of Country Craft Creations, I saw this pocket style and thought it was really cool. So I adjusted it a little bit just so I could say that I had changed it a bit. So this is Style 1, and you untie this, and this comes down so that you have some room for those smaller pictures. There's a tag that goes in the first pleat. Then there are 2 tags that go in the second and third pleat. So that's what we're going to start with, and then we'll move on to the back. Okay, so let me tie this up so it's not in my way. And that's the closure to keep this from flapping open instead of using magnets, okay? All right, so I'm going to show you the measurements of the black paper that I used. You can freeze this so that it's easy for you to go back and look at the measurements. So for Style 1, the front page, the base page is going to need 1 5x7 and 1 6x7. You'll need a 3.5 by 11. You will need a 6 1/8 by 4 inch piece, 4 3/4 by 3.5, and 1 2 3/4 by 4.5. So I'm going to go ahead and start my scoring, and I will start with the 6 by 7 inch piece. Put your 6 inch piece across the top of your scoreboard, and we are going to score it 1/2 inch on each side. So 1/2 on this side, and then I like to flip it around and do 1/2 on the other side. Okay, I'm going to do all my scoring first, I think. Let's move to the 3.5 by, oh, I didn't cut this right. It's supposed to be 3.5 by 11, and I still have it at 12. So let me trim this real quick. All right, that was easy enough. Get my cheat sheet out of the way here. Okay, so this is 3.5 by 11, and there are a couple different scores that we are going to make. We are going to start at 1.5, and I've been told that it's better to use a thinner score line. It just, I guess, lays flatter. I don't know. Like I said, I am lifting this from someone else's idea. So let's start at 1.5, and we're going to score at 2, and we're going to score at 3.5, and we'll score at 4. And we're going to make those same score lines by flipping this around and doing it again. So again, I'll say those. It is 1.5, 2 inches, 3.5, and 4. Okay, so I think you can see that in the camera. Yours should look like that. This will be the centerpiece. All right, that's all the scoring. Nope, there's one more. Nope, that's it. That's all the scoring. That's easy. Okay, so let's put the base page together. So I am going to burnish on my score lines. So on the 6 by 7 piece that we scored at 1/2 on each end, go ahead and burnish those real well so they lay flat. And like I said, this will become the base page. And we are going to place this on top of the 5x7 piece. So we want to line it up real good. So I used to use score tape to do this. Now I use the art glitter glue, so I have a little bit of wiggle room because it never failed. I could never get this on quite perfect or straight enough for my liking. So art glitter glue to the rescue. So I'm going to go ahead and miter the corners. You don't have to. I'm going to. So just take a little snip off each end. Just a little tiny triangle. Okay. Sometimes I miter, sometimes I don't. It doesn't really make too big of a difference on some parts of it. So, okay. So now we're going to place this on top. I'm going to do the bottom piece, or the bottom flap first. Okay. And with the glue, like I said, you have a little bit of wiggle room time. And I'm going to place that, line it up as close as I can. And I'm going, oh, got a little glue on there. I'm going to lift it up and just make sure that my corners line up. Man, that glue works fast. I saw a little bit of it off a hair, but you won't see it once the book is done. And so now we will do the other side. I just use my fingernail to get the excess glue. I know some people use the dry diaper wipes. I've said that before, but I am a fingernail person, I guess. Okay, so now we're going to put glue on this flap. Okay. And should line up just right. And I will give that a burnish. And our book is not going this way, it will be going this way. So now we're going to add our crimped or pleated pocket. And so that was the 3.5 by 11 piece that we already scored. So now I'm going to burnish this. So I want to fold, look at the centerpiece, and I want to take the first score line on either side and go down. Okay. And burnish. And I'm going to do that on the other side of that centerpiece, that first score line. I'm going to go down. And now the next score line, I'm going to go forward or up. So that makes our first crimp. And then this one, the next score line goes down. And then we're going to go up on the last one. And burnish. And so that's what that side looks like, and we'll do the same thing over here. So I went down, so now it's time to go up on the next one. And down for the next one. Burnish real well. Then we're going to go up on the next one. And that is going to become our pocket. So what we need to do is, on our base page, we are going to put it on at the bottom, and I'm going to do one side, and then I will get some clothespins and to hold on to it. Then I will do the other side, have some clothespins, and then I'm going to put glue along the bottom so I can push down, and then nothing will fall out of my pocket. So let's go ahead and put a thin line on the edge here. And we want to line that up. My eyes are really getting bad, I think. hard to see. Okay, push down, and like I said, I'll grab some clothespins. These are those quilters clothespins. I really like them. Got them at Tuesday morning. Okay, and so now we will do the other side. Okay, wait a minute. Like so. Okay, thin line of glue on the end, and we're gonna adhere that to the end, line it up, push down, get a couple clips just to make sure it's on there real well. While that's drying, the inserts on the small piece that was 2 3/4 by 4 1/2, I did take my crocodile, the angle, and I did the ends so that it looked more like a ticket. That's the center one. And then the other two don't get any scoring. We'll just end up matting them with the designer paper, and those will be the next two that go in. So you don't have to angle this, but I liked the look of it. So now we're going to adhere this pocket down. Now you might have to finagle it a little bit to make sure it's lined up right. And when mine, I'm going to have to, the first time I did it, it worked perfectly. I wonder if I did some scoring wrong here. I'm going to score this or burnish it so it stays down. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to put the glue actually on the base, not on the pocket itself. And I'm just going to put a thin line along the bottom. And press down, and I am going to get the pins again. And just put the pins there for a little bit just to make sure the glue is drying. Okay, so that was fast and easy, and then you'll see that there are some places then that hold the tickets, or not the tickets, well, the first one looks like a ticket. That'll hold the first one. The clothespins are in the way. Then the next one goes in the next accordion pocket and will stay nice. And then the third one goes in that back one. Okay, just like so. So at this point, you are going to want to get some seam binding. And this is how I chose to close mine. Oh, I forgot to cut a piece too. I'll have to go back and do that. I will go ahead and show you how I adhered my seam binding. So how much did I use? I don't know. 7, 14, 21, about 28 inches. How about that? And you're going to want to find your center. And I just took a piece of score tape. Probably, this is the 1/4 inch. Probably 3 inches long, 2 inches long, I guess. And just put it on the seam binding. Press down real well. And I'm going to feed the seam binding through the opening for to attach it, and I'm going to then, after I feed it through a little bit, I'll take the backing off of the tape. Where are you? There it is. Okay. And so now I'll take the backing off. And line it up where you want. And I'm pushing down so that it's not sticking to the top yet. And I want to find the middle. That's about it. And I'm kind of eyeballing it in the center of my pocket. So this was 3.5. So I want to center it around the 1.5. And then I'll just press down just to kind of keep it in place. Okay. So then we'll be able to tie that closed. So I did forget one piece. So let me find out what the measurement was. 3 by 11. Let me add that so you can see it. I thought I was super prepared. Surprise. Okay, so you're gonna need one also at 3 by 11. And that is going to be the fold out on this middle pocket. So let me get one cut. I need 11. What'd I say? 3 by 11? Sorry about that. 3 by 11. Alrighty. So we will have to do some scoring on that one also. So you will need your scoreboard again. Sorry about that. Okay. So with your 11-inch going across the top, let's go ahead and score this. There's 3 scores. 1/2. There's 1/2. 4. And 7.5. There we go. And let's go ahead and burnish those score marks. So that 1/2 inch is going to be where we attach it to the front middle pocket. So I'm going to attach it, I attached it at the top. So then I'm going to have the next one go up and the next one comes down. Okay, and let's go ahead and grab our base piece and we're going to attach it. Now when I attach it, I don't adhere it on the outside. I take the lip and I put glue on the inside and I place it right over so that it's attaching it to the back of the pocket, not on the front. Okay, so let's put our adhesive on the inside. Okay, place it on the inside. And now we can press down. So now you can have some extra pictures. All right, let me tie this and we'll move to the back. You know, when I first used this seam binding, it looked black. Now I'm wondering if it's navy blue, which is fine because when I put the decorative paper on, it'll match, but I'm starting to think that this is blue. Okay, ooh, that's a terrible bow. I will go back and fix that, obviously. That's just to hold it in place for right now. Ooh, okay, so now we're going to do the back. So let me get the next measurements for you. Let me put these in here so I don't lose those pieces. There's one. There's the next one. And the third one. Okay, so now I won't lose them. I'll leave them in there. Okay, now on the back, style 1 of the back, hopefully I got all the pieces cut for this one. All right, here's what you're going to need. One piece that's 5 by 5, and we're going to score it at 1/2 inch on one side. And then we need a 5 by 6 piece, and with the 6-inch piece along the top of the scoreboard, we're going to score it a 1/2 inch. We need a 5.5 by 5. We'll score at 1/2 inch on the 5 side. And we need a 2 by 4 1/4, and we're going to end up angling one end. Okay, so I'll let you take a look at that so you can freeze or write it down. So here we go. Let's start our scoring. Let's start with the 5 by 5. And on the 5 by 5, we just need to score 1/2 inch on one side. Okay, let's move that to the side. And on the next piece, which is 5 by 6, I want the 6-inch side along the top, and I'm going to score at 1/2 inch. On the third piece, that's 5.5 by 5, I put the 5-inch, I already did this one, I put the 5-inch along the top and scored at 1/2, and then I took a punch and punched the edge so it was a little bit decorative. So it was 5 inches when I started. 5.5 by 5. Okay. All right, so let's put that on our first page. I'm going to go ahead and burnish real quick. And I do think I'm going to miter my corners. So just take a little snip off the corners. Both of them. Actually, I'm going to do all three while I'm doing it. And this one that I have the decorative edge. Get all those little pieces out of the way. Let's go ahead while I've got it out. This was the small piece that we're going to use for the closure on the back. This was the 2 by 4 1/4. I did angle my corners with that corner chomper, and I'm going to, what did I measure this one? I did 3/4 of an inch on this one just to give it a little bit more, I don't know, stability. I don't know why I changed my mind, but I did. Went with 3/4 instead of a 1/2. Okay. So let's grab this and turn it over. And what we want to do is place this one, the smaller one, on the left. And I'm trying to see, did I put that on the inside? I sure did. And I'm going to adhere it to the inside here. So I'm going to put adhesive on the inside of the flap. Okay. And I'm going to tuck that in there. And fold it over and press down. And I have no glue in there. I can't believe it. Okay. Now we're going to take that larger piece and we're going to attach it to the other side, on the right hand side. And again, I'm going to put it on the inside of the opening, like so. And so I will put the adhesive on the inside of that 1/2 inch. And I'm going to turn this so it's easier for me. And I just tuck it in there. I don't really put it at the top yet. Now I see when I push it all the way in so I can fold it over, and it lines up perfectly. Okay. And now we want this piece to go on the top so that it opens. And this one I do put, well, did I? Yeah, this one I am going to glue on the front. I'm not going to wrap it around. So I will put the glue on the flap on the outside like you normally do. And I'm going to line this up. I'm actually going to open it so I can press down. Sorry, I was out of camera, but I had to see it. And I'm going to get some clips. Okay, and let that dry for a second. So I don't want this flapping around, so I am going to use this as a closure. So you're going to need some magnets. So I'm going to grab 2 magnets. I am out of the basic gray, so I'm using some other ones that I have. The basic gray ones are the best, I think. Okay. All right, so we want to put, make sure I do it the same way I did the other one. Okay. I'm going to adhere the closure. I'm going to lift up the flap that has the decorative punch end, and I'm going to glue this 3/4 inch there, and then that will close, keep it closed. Okay. So I'm just going to eyeball so that it's somewhat in the middle. And let's see, I need to put, the glue goes on the outside. Alrighty, I'm going to turn this sideways. So I kind of line it up where I think I want it, and then I'm going to just push down. And get rid of the excess glue if there is any. Okay. Let's go ahead and put the magnet on to keep it closed. So this kind, like I said, isn't the basic gray, so I have to put some score tape on the back to get it to stick. And the basic gray comes with the adhesive already on the back, which is nice. So just put a little bit of score tape here, turn it over. I have the 2 pieces together, the magnet, and then put some score tape on the other one. Push them together, make sure that tape's on there real well. I'm going to take the backing off of one side and adhere it to the little flap. Push real good, make sure it's adhered. And then I'm going to take this backing off and I'm going to close it. Push down so that the magnet stays. And then I put score tape over the top to make sure it doesn't slide around because there's not that much adhesive on there. There, and I'll put some on top of this one. There you go. So we have first page done. And the obviously you can put inside paper mats to come out. I haven't done that yet. So there is page style 1, and I made 2 of those. There's going to be 2 of each style. Oh, now this looks black to me. This seemed like, there's blue and black in here. There's 2 different colors together. Oh, Rannells. Well, one's black and one's blue. They'll be far enough apart though. See, look. Son of a gun. Oh well. Let's move on. The next page style is super easy and super fast. I wanted something where I could pull out and look at pictures. So I could put a picture here on the inside. But it's just a little half page. And so this will be attached to the binding. And then this will be sticking inside. So you can take it out and look. Okay. So let's get the measurements for those. This will be done in no time. And again, I made 2 of all these pages. So style 2 is what I'm calling this one. So to make it, you need a 5 by 3.5. You need a 6 by 3.5. And you need a 9.5 by 6 1/4. And if you're making 2 of these pages, just double it. Okay, so if you want to freeze now and write these measurements down, let's do our scoring. I'm going to start with the insert. This one is the 9.5 inch by 6 1/4. You need your 9.5 inch going across the top, and you're going to score at 4 3/4. Move that to the side. The other one that you score is the 6 by 3.5. The 6 inch side is at the top, and you're going to score at 1/2 inch on each end. Half. Oh, that didn't look right. Turn it around and do a half. And that is all the scoring for that. I'm going to go ahead and burnish both ends. Now, I plan on making this a little bit more exciting when I put my paper, my decorative paper on and start embellishing it, because it's kind of a basic page right now, but that's okay. All right, so we're going to attach this to the 5 by 3.5 inch sheet, and then that will be our next page. Do I want to miter this one? No, I don't. I'm going to keep it. I'll just do one side first. I'm going to turn it, line it up. Pick it up, make sure it's lined up right. Glue on the other side. And press down. Have a little bit of excess glue I'm going to need to wipe up. Again, I use my finger now. All right. Move that to the side, and then we're going to go ahead and burnish this larger piece. And poof, we're done. That was super fast. Now let's just make sure it fits. Yes. Perfect. Okay, move that one to the side. And style number 3 looks like this. This is a waterfall. Okay, with a magnetic closure. Turn it over and it flips up, flips down, and then we have a double pocket in here. So left these alone so that there's more room for photos. Okay, so here we go. Let's start with the front. So we'll make the base in the front first. You are going to need a 5 by 7, a 6 by 7. The waterfall requires 6 pieces at 5 by 4.5. And then to close it magnetically, the 6.5 by 2 inch strip. Okay. Let's go ahead and get our base page made. So I'm going to take the 6 by 7 piece, I'm going to place the 6-inch piece along the top of my scoreboard, and I'm going to score at 1/2 inch on each end. Oh, I did that off. And let's go ahead and do the, well, I'm going to go ahead and do all of the scoring is the word I'm looking for, all the scoring right now. So this one, I'm going to go ahead, this is the closure. I did use my corner chomper on the end. This one, we're going to place the 6.5 inch along the top, and I score this one at 3/4. Now we're going to do the waterfall pieces. And remember, these measure 5 by 4.5. And you're going to place the 4.5 inch side along the top of your scoreboard. 4.5 inches goes on the side, at the top, and 1/2 inch. Oh my gosh, when I use this tool, it seems to jump on the channels, and I don't like that. Wonder why it does that. It's probably me, but I'm not going to take the responsibility. I'm going to blame the score tool. 4.5 on the top, 1/2. All 6 of them. 1/2. It did it again. I'll be darned. I'm gonna have to go back to my other one. I don't like that. I need one of the, I've said it before, the scoring tools that are more like rounded at the end, or a tiny little, I don't know. 1/2. Last one. 4.5 inch side at the top, and a 1/2 inch score. And I'm putting this one away. I don't like it. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and burnish. All of my waterfall pieces. So it is, what's today? The December 2nd, I think. Yeah, today's December 2nd. Have not put my tree up yet. My husband works hours where when he comes home at 8 o'clock at night, and then we don't feel like doing anything because he's tired, and I've been home from work and I'm tired, so he has Tuesday off, so I think he's gonna go down and get all the Christmas stuff and bring it upstairs so that we can put it up. And we always use an artificial tree. I've never had a real tree ever, but when we put it up, I break out in hives, so I must be allergic to something in fake Christmas trees. That's my excuse not to have to put it up because I break out. But there are some purses too that if I wear, like, and when I have the strap over my arm, it makes me break out in hives. So there must be something in some man-made materials that my body does not like. All right. And I'm done scoring these pieces. So we're going to make the base page. So I'm going to lay out my 5x7 and place the 6x7 that we just burnished and attach these to make the base. So again, I'm going to do one side at a time. I'm going to put my adhesive on the outside 1/2 inch fold. And I'm going to line this up. Press down. Got a little bit of glue I can get off here. All right, and let's close this baby up. Do the next one. All right. give it a good press. Get your burnishing tool, just make sure it's attached real well. And there's our base. So now we're going to attach the waterfall. And so I am going to turn my paper sideways so that the 5-inch is along the top of my scoreboard, so that when I adhere my waterfall, I can use that as a guide so that I get it on straight. You know what, I'm going to take this off actually. Okay, so that just helps you keep it lined up and not go cattywampus, because I've done that many a times. So we're going to take these and put our glue on it. You know what, these I should have mitered probably. No, I'm not going to. Okay, and I'm going to put it up in the corner and make sure it's lined up. Press down. I want to make sure that corners are down real well. Okay, now when we put our next piece on, we're going to butt it up right against that 1/2 inch tab that's already been glued down. And again, I'm going to do it on my scoreboard to keep it lined up. So I'll put my adhesive on, and then I'm going to, like I said, butt it up against that 1/2 inch that's already down. And press down. Okay, so we're at 2 pages. Third one. Flip these up so I can see. Butt it up against that one that's on there before. Press down. So far it looks lined up pretty good. That's what we want. Nothing's worse than a cattywampus waterfall. Okay, there are worse things, but I'm going to lift this up so I can see where the 1/2 inch is. Push down. This scoreboard is a lifesaver for me on this. So I like to close it just make sure it's still going straight. Looks like it to me. 2 more. Oh, I almost did it wrong. Got a little bit of glue coming out on that one. It'll be covered up, so it doesn't matter. And last one. Waterfalls are so nice that you can fit so many pictures on there. Okay. Up against my scoreboard. Ooh, a lot of glue coming out on that bad boy. And press down. Get my finger in there to get that glue off. And so our waterfall is done. There's a shadow, but we want to make sure that it stays closed. Otherwise, when you have your book, it flaps open, and that's not cool. And so that's where this piece comes in, and we already did our scoring, and we're going to place that. I think I put that on the inside of the... Yes, I did. Okay, so I'm going to put glue on the inside, and I'm going to place it, see our opening? I'm going to place it on the inside like so. And that will be our closure. So I don't put it on the top, I'm going to put it inside the opening. So I want to eyeball it to see if I'm centering it. Works for me. I just eyeball it. Some people would probably want to measure. It doesn't bother me if it's not exactly perfect. All right, and we are going to need 2 more magnets. So let me get my cheap little magnets. Seriously, if you have not tried Basic Gray, get on that Country Craft Creations website and get yourself some good magnets. Basic Gray. So there's 2 sizes. A smaller one and a bigger one. Where's my score tape? And I like the bigger ones myself. So I'm putting some score tape on the back of my magnets because they don't have the sticky on them, when the Basic Gray already does have that on there. And I'm going to take the back off of one, put it, let's see, about right there, push down, take this backing off, and bring it down and press. Kind of stick my fingernail in between them so they separate without coming off the paper. And then I'll put some adhesive to keep them down. All right, we are cooking. Only have one side left to do, people. Fabulous. All right, there's I like the opening or the orientation of this page so that the flap goes to the inside, the closure. So now we're going to turn it over, and we have one last set of papers to use. Here are the measurements. You're going to need a 5.5 by 7, a 5 3/8 by 7, so just a hair smaller, a 1.5 by 8, and a 2.5 by 8. Go ahead and freeze that so you can get your paper cut. Okay, and I'm going to start with, I'll start with my, what's this, 5.5 by 7. I want to make sure one's 5.5. Yep, that's the bigger one. Okay, 5.5 by 7. And I'm back to using this score tool because that other one was driving me crazy. And on the 5.5 inch side along the top, go ahead and score it 1/2 inch. And on the 5 3/8 by 7, go ahead and put the 5 3/8 along the top and do 1/2. The strips that are 8 inches long, you're going to do 1/2 on each end. The 1.5 inch piece, do 1/2 inch on each side. The piece that is 2.5 by 8, the 2.5 inch one, we're going to score on 3 sides. So 1/2 inch, turn it, do 1/2 inch with the 2.5 inch across the top. Turn it again and do 1/2 inch. All right. What do I want to do first? I think I'll do the flaps first. So I'm going to go ahead and burnish those. And the reason why there's a hair difference is so that it closes nice with, because if they were both 5 inches exactly, that would, they'd bump up against each other and not close nice and flat. Okay. So we want the larger piece to be on the top and the smaller piece to be on the bottom. Okay. So you'll see there's just a hair space up there. This one I'm going to miter. I don't know how I pick and choose which ones I will and which ones I won't, but this one is gonna get a miter. Put my adhesive on, my art glitter glue that I can't live without. I never use the ATG stuff anymore. Never. It's junk. For me it is, sorry. I waste so much of it because I don't know if I'm not loading it right or what, but it never comes out right. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and open it and just make sure it's down. Got a little glue coming out. Handy dandy fingernails getting that off. Okay. And now we're going to leave it open and we'll do the top piece. And we'll just adhere that up here. Miter in those corners. Glue on your 1/2 inch flap. And I'm going to turn this around so it's easier for me. And line it up with the top. Open it up, make sure it's down real well. Okay, so you see now it lays better because they're not exactly the same size. All right, let me look at what okay, so now we're going to take our smaller strips and burnish. And on this one, I do my cutting first before I burnish. So where that square is, where the two pieces, the two score lines overlap, I'm going to cut it at an angle. And I'm going to do that on the other side where the score lines overlap. I cut at an angle on the outside of each of those lines. So it looks like that. And now I go ahead and burnish my score lines. Oh, you know what I need to put on my Santa what I want list? I love these Fiskars little cutters, but everybody has those, what are they called? Cutter bees? Totally want a little pair of cutter bees. I see everybody using them, so I feel left out. I need a pair. I'm sure I can get them at some craft store around here. I just forget every time I'm there. And there's nothing wrong with those. Like I said, I do like them. I just don't want to be left out, I guess. Okay. So I put this piece down first. You'll notice that it's open, and that's so that a tag or a picture can go all the way, it can go down further. So I kind of want to eyeball this to see where I want this, because there's going to be a little bit of an overlap. So I want to put it, let me measure how far down. So from that flap, oh, wrong side, I want to put it about 1.5 inches down. Okay. 1.5 from that little 1/2 inch. I'm putting glue on the, put glue on it. I'm going to turn it sideways so I can see the 1.5 easier. And about right here. Okay, and then go ahead and attach that to the other side. feel like I got too much glue on that. Fabulous. Okay, and so now when we attach this little pocket, we want to make sure we put it right on top of where the fold is, right above the score, not on the score, so that it doesn't get in the way of closing. And see how that will overlap a little bit? That's what we want. On all three sides and putting the glue. I got a big old glob there. And I put the two sides in and bring the bottom up. And now I'm going to attach it right above that score line. And press down. And we're almost done. We are going to need 2 more magnets. Looks like 3. Yep, it's 3. These are really thin, but they're just not as strong. So when you start putting layers of paper on top, that's when I get worried that they're not going to work as well. Okay, so I put my score tape on the back of each side, and we want this to stay closed, so I'm going to place a magnet on the top, push down, take off the backing, bring it down, push, then I kind of put my fingernails between the two to open it. And so it doesn't move around, put the score tape on top. Fabulous, people. Look how easy that was. Now I'm going to do my book. Let's see. So I have that I'm going to put the book in this order so that when you open it, you see the cutest page. So that's this one. And then you'll have the half pocket page. And then the waterfall. And then it'll repeat. That is the order I'm going to do mine in. I already made my hinge. If you're not familiar with how to make hinges, I'm going to actually refer you to another video that Tammy Merrill made. It just saves time and I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I will tell you that I have 1/2 inch gussets, and so I used a 12-inch piece by, let me write it down for the spine so you know. Pen. So for the hinge, the book is 5 inches, so you want to go a hair smaller so that your pages fit onto the hinge nice and neat. So I go 4 7/8, and it was a 12-inch long strip. Okay, so for the hinge, 4 7/8 by 12. And what I did is I put the 12-inch side at the top of the scoreboard, and I started my scoring at 1.5 inches, and then I went 1/2 inch for my hinges. Okay, and like I said, I will, Tammy Merrill has, there's a lot of them out there, but Tammy's, oh, I don't remember what the name of the book was that she was Genevieve, maybe? I think she was working on an album called Genevieve that she shows how to make the hinge. So So that is all the pages. So the only thing I need to come back and show you, I don't usually do the decorating on camera. I think that's really personal and everybody does it their own way. I always say that I cut my mats about 1/8 of an inch smaller than the actual page. So I will come back and show you how I'm going to do the cover, or how to put the cover together. But the decorating and the matting, I can't wait to see how you guys do it. I always say I'd like to see what you have made. So if you are a member of Scrapbookers of Country Craft Creations on Facebook, please upload your pictures if you make this album so I can see what it looks like. Now remember, this is the album that's going to go in, that will be housed inside of this. Okay, so the album's just going to go right inside here. So that tutorial is on a separate video. So it's a 2-part video. All right, well, thanks for tuning in. Let me come get my materials ready for the cover, and I will be back. My chipboard pieces are cut, and I've written the measurements down on the board so that you can cut yours the same size. My spine is 3.5 by 5 1/4. And you're going to need 2 pieces that are 5 1/4 by 7 1/4. So I went 1/4 of an inch larger than the actual pages. So to wrap your cover, you're going to need 2 sheets that measure 7 1/4 by 12. So you cut 2 of those, and then we're going to end up overlapping them and adhering those 2 together so that it's long enough to compensate for the whole book being opened. So I like to overlap by placing, I'm going to turn this sideways, on the 7 1/4 inch side, place score tape on the very end. And this is the 3/8 inch score tape. And then I also want to put the score tape on the other one. I think it makes it stronger if you put it on both. Some people just put it on one, but not me. Okay, so I have it on both. So when I overlap mine, I like to just have a little bit of overlap on the adhesive. So I place this about just a little bit over. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but okay. So I'm going to take the backing off, and then I'm going to tuck in if there's any little pieces. Like, see, I got to push that in, and then I'll take off the adhesive backing of the other piece. And I'm going to use my grid on my desk, and I asked for a new one for Christmas because this one's filthy and it's black, so I know it's hard to see when I use black paper. So I'm asking for a different colored one. Okay, I'm running out of room here. Let me back this up over here. Okay. All right. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is put adhesive on the back of our chipboard pieces and attach them to the paper. And I'm going to check to see if I have any of the large sheets of the score tape, because that is so time consuming, or less time consuming if you do that. Otherwise you can use your score tape. We just have to do strip after strip after strip. So let me check to see if I have any of the big sheets. I was so excited. I did have some of the large sheets of score tape from Tammy's store. These were 6 by 6 pieces, and I cut them to fit, and then it didn't fit perfectly, but ooh, way faster. So I have score tape on the back of all of these. And what I did was I placed my paper in my score pal and did a 1-inch border so that I could see where I want things to line up so I can keep it as straight as possible. I learned that from Ginger, from my sister Scrapper, at one of the retreats I went to for Country Craft Creations. She does a score line, and so if it works for her, it works for me. And so I will place that down first, lining it up with those score lines. Keep everything nice and lined up. Look how fast that is doing it that way. Okay, so I'm going to place this down. And let's push down real well. And now I put a 1/4 inch piece of score tape down next to this so that it gives me a little bit of space so that my book closes nicely and opens nicely and doesn't get any cracking, or just kind of helps with the spacing of the chipboard pieces. Okay. So then I'm going to place my spine next. And that's going to go on the other side of that score tape. I didn't get that straight, but it'll work. Okay, now this is what's time consuming when you don't have those sheets. You got to rip off these individual pieces. I know, if that's the worst of my problems, I'm pretty lucky. Come on. One more. All right, so now I want to line this up as close as I can. Like I said, must not have got the score tape perfect. Okay. See, there's a little bit of a gap there, but that's not going to affect anything bad. It'll be fine. All right, and I'll do that again. I'll place a 1/4 inch piece of score tape next to this piece of chipboard. And one last piece. And that will go right here. Remove some stuff. I got too much stuff in my way. I can't lay it down flat. There we go. Man, I love those sheets. I actually had 2 packages. Thought I only had a couple sheets left, but I have 2. But I'm still going to order more because they're awesome. All right, line it up with that score line and the tape that you placed. And now I'm going to turn it over, and I'm also going to burnish it with my score tool, or my burnishing tool. So I have extra on this end, so I am going to get my knife and cut it so I just have a 1 inch over 1 inch larger than the chipboard piece. So I'll just use the width of this ruler, that'll work. And get my cutting tool. And that came off like butter. Oh, about hit myself with that ruler. Okay, so now I'm going to start to train my paper, and I'm going to fold up on the paper. See how I'm doing that? Pushing down so that I get a little bit of a lip here. I'm going to do that to the other side. And I'm going to do it on the ends also. I know you can't see this probably, but okay. Now I'm going to take my score tool and just kind of go around the edge. I say score tool, it's my burnishing, my bone folder. Just kind of give it a good rub here so that it folds nice and neat. And the ends. Okay, so now we're going to place our score tape. I'm going to get my 3/8, and I put score tape on my chipboard and I put it on the edge of my paper. So I'm going to do the 3/8 on my chipboard, and I'm just going to run a piece from one end to the other. Do it at the top also. We're just going to go around the perimeter on all 4 sides. And on the ends. And you want to make sure that sticks real well. And then I use the 1/4 on the black on my paper. Oh, yeah, here's 1/4. Okay. Now I'm not going to go all the way to the end here because I'm going to end up mitering these corners, and so I don't want to waste my score tape, so I'm just going to go close to the edge. Man, it's hard to see this black paper on this mat. And the other side. And the ends on this one too. Okay. Now I also use my glitter glue around the edges when I wrap the paper around, because I just think it gives it a nicer finished look. I have a new tool that I need to find that miters corners. Let me see if I can find it real quick, so hold tight. Sorry. Okay, I found it. So this is a metal, it's for mitering, and it's metal, so it's really durable. And what you do, I haven't used it before, but you place it on the corner, and then whoop, it's going to be a perfect mitered corner. Now it doesn't go all the way to the end, but that's, I can easily... So it's supposed to give you just the right amount of paper at the end. So we'll see how well that wraps. Just place it on the end. Okay. It's pretty slick so far. And one more corner. All right. That is my handy dandy mitering tool. It's metal. Okay. So, yeah, I think that's gonna be perfect actually. Okay, I am going to place a bead of glue along the chipboard, and that just helps the paper stay nice. And oh wait, you know what, before I do that, I'm gonna take I'll take this off. Okay, so I'm getting the backing off. And I'm gonna need a tool for this. Come on. I have... My fingernail works just better. Okay. That was silly. Trying to make it harder than it needed to be. Okay, I say that. Now this one doesn't want to work. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to put a bead of glue right up against the chipboard. Somebody said it like softens the fibers, and that's why it works nice. Oh my goodness. Gotta find my pin. Where's my pin for my glue? There it is. Dang. I hate it when I lose stuff when it's right in front of me. Alright, just make sure it's cleaned out because I didn't want to... There we go. I think that'll work. There we go. Right up against there. Can you see how thin? Just a thin line. And then I will take the backing off this. And let's get that burnished. I'm doing the edges too. Okay, let's flip it around. Get your glue just right up against the chipboard. This is optional, you don't have to do this. Take off the backing. I always do my long sides first when I do my covers. Okay, and because we already kind of burnished them and trained it, it should go nice and easy around this chipboard. And let's burnish that. And the edges. Okay, so now this will be the test to see if that mitering tool left just the right amount of paper at the end, and I'm telling you it did. I can tell. Okay, this is awesome. And I'm going to kind of tuck those pieces in. Nothing worse than seeing your chipboard on the corners. Ooh, drives me crazy. Do not like that. Oh, nice. Okay, look, no chipboard showing. And our final end. And I just kind of take my fingernail and make sure that's and burnish. And burnish. Okay. And this is going to be our album. Let's see how it fits inside. So there's the house that I made. Yeah, perfect. I love it. Love it. Okay. And now what I do is you can either use decorative paper or you can use black on the inside. I'm going to, let me burnish these a little bit. Okay, I'm going to use decorative paper. So let me take a look and see what I want for the inside. There's that. That would, how much do I need here? So I'm going to go 1/8 of an inch smaller, and so this is 5 1/4. So if I went 5 1/8, do I have enough? 5 1/8, 5 1/8, and I'm going to need a couple. I think I would go 5 1/8 by 10, and then 5 1/8 by 8 1/2, and then there'll be a little bit of an overlap. All right, let me see what paper I want to choose. So I decided to go with the black paper back that had a black background and the floral, and I love this paper. It looks really pretty. I went ahead and helped it get the memory inside of the bindings or the spine here. So very gently I was bending and pushing and making sure everything was laying down. And now I'm going to attach my hinge because I have that ready, and I went ahead and put my tape on each side of the hinge, and I'm going to center that in the middle, and then I decorate my pages, and then I put them on the hinge. So I need to find, I want the same amount of space at the top, bottom, and sides. So I'm going to go ahead and take off my backing. maybe. All right, and let's find that center. All right. Want to make sure it sticks real well. And that's what we have done. So now it's the fun part to decorate. So I will show you once my pages are decorated and how to put them on the hinge.